In this passage of Huckleberry Finn, we meet two men sailing down the Mississippi River. One of them is called Jim, and he's a black guy who's on the run from slavery. He's trying to get to Cairo in Illinois because it's a slave-free city. The other one is Huck, and he's a white guy. While they're sailing down this river, Jim keeps on talking about how he will free his wife and children when he gets to the free city. Huck dislikes the way that he's always trying to get more. He says, give a nigger an inch and he'll take an eel. That's like an old saying. If you give someone something, a little thing, they'll just end up wanting more. And that's exactly how Jim is behaving in this passage, since he's always talking about getting more when he's finally free. Even though Huck gets a chance to turn Jim in, he decides not to. And that is shown in this passage when he is talking to some men trying to catch some niggers, and he tells them that the guy in the boat, Jim, is a white guy. Huck finds that it's troublesome to do right and ain't no trouble to do wrong, and that you gain equally much from doing either thing, and therefore he concludes that what he did for Jim was the rightful thing to do. I find that one of the themes for Huckleberry Finn is morality, because I think that Huck spends a lot of time considering what to do about Jim. As an example, Huck spends a lot of time thinking about poor Miss Watson, who was Jim's original owner, and he does not think that she deserves to lose her slave as she did. Therefore, he feels guilty for helping him, because he spends a lot of time on thinking about what Miss Watson did to him. She taught him her book and her manners, and it seems like he thinks that he does not deserve what she gave him. Another theme in Huckleberry Finn is quite obvious, but it's race inequality, and it is shown by the fact that Huck spends so much time on considering whether he should tell everybody about Jim, and that is shown in this quote where he says, "My conscience got to stirring me up hotter than ever until at last I says to it, let up on me, it ain't too late yet, I'll paddle ashore at the first light and tell." The fact that Huck even considers turning Jim in shows the inequality between races, and that he does not find that Jim's life is as valuable as his own. But nonetheless, he saves Jim by telling the men off, and that might show how he actually feels sorry for the niggers. That is shown when he talks about how he would have felt if he had just turned Jim in. Then I thought a minute and says to myself, hold on, suppose you'd have done right and give Jim up, would you felt better than what you do now? No, says I. I'd feel bad. I'd feel just the same way I do now. This quote in particular might show the dilemma that some white men might have had. In some way they feel sorry for them and want to help them, yet they don't find that they are as important as themselves. In searching for symbolism about the Mississippi River, I found this page where it says that the river might symbolize freedom on its own. Obviously the river is a transportation, but it's also their way from getting from captivity and to freedom. The fact that the river might symbolize freedom is also shown in our passage of Huckleberry Finn. It says, Jim said it made him all over trembly and feverish to be so close to freedom. It also says that I began to get it through my head that he was most free. And this suggests that when they're on the river, he is almost free already. And that is good tied in with the fact that the river should symbolize freedom. I find that Huckleberry Finn matches our main theme pretty well overall, as transcendentalism is shown through the connection between the river and Jim. And I think that another example of this is in Walden, where we meet the man who is very connected with nature as well. So I find that these two texts match very well, because in both texts there's a deep connection between man and nature.